Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L coming in to talk about My Hero Academia chapter 272. I'm coming in on a Monday afternoon, so thank you very much for your patience. We're going to get into the chapter. It's going to be a pretty long one. I mean, it was a pretty exciting chapter. I mean, all kinds of wonderful things were happening. Really, it was like the sky was falling down. Like, it was really exciting. Lots of dust everywhere, lots of confetti. Anyway, yeah, let's get into it, into chapter 272. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. So the first point that I want to talk about is that I was extremely mistaken about Izuku's group's placement. As time went on, I assumed Izuku was closer to Hawks than Endeavor. I believe maybe back in like the 250s, maybe I had a different idea about where Izuku was. But yeah, I think I was just thrown off seeing Burning call the area foothills, and as we saw in this chapter, the hospital is right there in the mountains, which makes sense. I mean, Twice did tell us that Shigaraki was somewhere in the mountains. I mean, this answers a lot of the confusion that I had in the back of my head, but I still feel pretty stupid for making such a critical mistake. So apologies if I misled anyone. It's just as time went on, it just seemed like Izuku was closer to Hawks than Endeavor. I'm sure people challenged me on this in the comments, and I probably missed it. But yeah, that's the first thing. I just felt really bad as I was reading the chapter. It's like, oh shit. It's just because that threw everything off in my head. Anyway, the next point is, oh my god, man. Shigaraki just wiped the area out. You know, at the beginning, there were instances where we talked about Shigaraki. You know, if he gets out, the whole hospital's going down. And as we got closer to the event, you know, I personally started getting fixated on the idea of Shigaraki just hitting people one-on-one like pretty hard because I thought that would be cool. So yeah, I was really excited to see Shigaraki just going for the easy option. I definitely got lulled into full sense of security. I think that was worthwhile. I did see people saying that Shigaraki is too powerful, but really what we're seeing here, this is pretty much a longer duration version of the thing that Shigaraki once did in that one town during the villain arc. So nothing's changed. There's nothing new coming out of this. We'll probably see new stuff in the next chapter, depending on when exactly someone goes to confront Shigaraki. Ideally, Izuku will end up there, but we'll talk more about that later. Anyway, one thing I do want to do for this particular video is let's talk about the deaths and my official thoughts. I want to give you guys my bets. So if you guys told me that Crust was going to die in this chapter, I would believe you. If you told me Mirko, I would give the stipulations as I did in the past, only after X and Y get done, that kind of thing. The reason for this is because when you look at the top 10 heroes, which of these heroes have appeared outside of the introduction hero arc and this arc? Crust is one of the least developed, so he was naturally an easy kill. Now, moving on from that, listen, I don't think Horikoshi wants to wipe out everyone in the hospital. Now, I'm down with being wrong. I'm totally down with it. If Horikoshi wants to go balls to the walls, then I got like 10 walls waiting for him to burst through. If Horikoshi wants to be merciless and wipe everyone out, that'd be fine. That'd be totally fine. But I have to assume that he won't. One thing to note, though, is that Decay can be cheated, given Redestro. So there's no telling if the way that Decay works has been altered, but Redestro was ultimately able to cheat it, so therefore there is a way for some people to get out of this, even though it looks like it's over for them. In terms of how Decay works, it may be that Decay spreads as a wave, and once that wave has passed, you can touch the ground the initial wave left behind. Honestly, there's too many variables with Decay and not enough good examples. All that is to say that, you know, there's ways for people to survive and there's ways for people to die. It really depends on what the author wants to do, and I don't really have a good sense for what the author wants to do. If anything, the people that he's killed off so far just reinforced to me that he wants the illusion of death. In other words, he's going for people that aren't really well developed, and maybe two people that are developed. That's what I would think. But him being so merciful right now is either him lulling us into a false sense of security, or it's the evidence that he wants to be careful with who he's killing off here. Oh, wait, I forgot one little bit. I was going to say, I do think it also would be really thematically cool if the way to beat Shigaraki is to rush into the epicenter as opposed to run away from it, because that would just be, that'd be such a, you wouldn't naturally think that. That'd be kind of cool. Anyway, here's my bet. If you guys want, let me know your bets on who dies from this down below. We're specifically looking at this event, not the whole arc, so, you know, just make sure you stipulate that. You could also do the whole arc bet, but I don't really have many bets for that yet. Well, I have to reevaluate. Anyway, Ryuku's group. This one is tricky. When we first started this arc, I noted that people like Rocklock, they're one of those people that the author could sacrifice. That wouldn't just be a no-name death, because we had that little bit of a backstory for Rocklock. So he's a guy that if the author killed off, there's the illusion of killing off a developed character. Now, the reason I bring that up is because right now Ryukyu is holding on to Manuel, Rocklock, Aizawa, the one girl that criticized Bakugo in the sports festival, Native from the Stain arc, Kisagiri Man, and Brave. This group also has one of Endeavor's agency boys, I think, maybe two. In other words, this one woman is carrying a majority of the sacrificable designs. She's also the only one struggling out of the door. So seeing that group, I wouldn't be surprised if she loses a few, because she is Miss Expendable. Like, her group is the expendable group. It's just really interesting how the author threw so many, well, what would you even call them? One-note designs, or like just the guys in the background, like the bare minimum effort characters. It's just funny how he threw them all onto this one person, or the majority of them. Why not just have a random hero we've never seen before on her? It's odd. It's honestly super odd. But anyway, for this group, I'll put bets on Ryukyu herself dying, because that gives Nejire something to develop from. I would say Rocklock dies so that you can ruin a kid's life. You can kill off Native, because Native shouldn't have survived Stain. I feel that would be okay. You kill off Manuel so that you can ruin Ida. I think that would be fair. And then you either take out Kisagiri or Brave. And I would say, you know, it just has to be one of the two, because they were introduced together in the Overhaul arc. So just take one of them out just to make that work. Now, honestly, I am making bets here, but Aizawa is with this group. They're probably alive unless Horikoshi wants to get creative with how Aizawa can survive and the others can't. And mind you, I'm assuming that Aizawa survives, but maybe this is the opportunity to get rid of the guy that is the biggest game breaker in Hero Academia. Like, Aizawa can save so many people at the last minute if Horikoshi just let him. So there's that to keep in mind. For this one, something as easy as a character saying, "Oh crap, I just got touched by a piece of falling debris. Crap, I'm decaying, I'm jumping off," right? That's all that really needs to happen to justify some of these people dying. Moving on to that, this is the general group. Number 13 is dead. There's no way around it. Last time we see her, she's using her quirk. Would be very unlikely that she survives that, all things considered. Panda Man is also probably dead, but Panda Man is a legend, so they'll probably show up again. The firefighter hero is probably dead because he was in this area. Was there anyone else hanging around here? I just remember firefighter. Probably just another no-name hero, but 13 definitely. I would say 13 is dead. I would bet on that. If 13 survives, then 13 is also a traitor. That's just how that's gonna work. Okay, moving on. Endeavor's group. This was actually kind of interesting. People were not sure who Endeavor was holding, and like, I see this design on the screen, and it's like, this is very obviously Ryukyu's sidekick. This is very obviously the one character that never gets any lines, even though they're always in the scene with Ochako. That's Ryukyu's sidekick. You can even tell the scarf and the bodysuit. Like, it's strange to me that this was a point of confusion for so many people. Anyway, Endeavor is holding on to Mirko and Ryukyu's sidekick. I see this group surviving. If Hori kills Endeavor, I would say that's a bold move. It can work for the narrative, like, definitely. You can do something cool with that. But we're pretty much rushing to endgame if Endeavor goes down, because Endeavor is such a big part of this new era of Hero Academia. Yeah, Endeavor just carries way too much weight right now, you know. But his death would definitely galvanize the Todoroki drama plotline. But yeah, because of Endeavor, I see Endeavor surviving. Mirko, honestly, I don't think she would die to this. I think she survives this. I think the whole Endeavor group survives it. In terms of the Gran Torino group, this one's sketch as well. I'm betting that the Doctor will actually get dusted. And part of it is definitely because I wanted to see this guy go. I want this guy out of it. But if I need to justify it, the Doctor is so far gone that he is legitimately the person who might stick his hand out to touch the wall as it's decaying, just so he can say like he died to the New World Order or something like that. This guy's already given up so much of himself to All for One that he might think, yeah, I don't want to give away my secrets, so I'm just gonna dust myself. He was ecstatic when Shigaraki's Decay was coming out. He doesn't have a self-preservation instinct when it comes to All for One. If All for One tells him to die, he's gonna die. That's why I think I'd be very surprised if he gets out of this. And the good thing is, if the Doctor gets wiped here, We already saw in the chapter how his stuff was getting destroyed by Shigaraki, which is already a pretty big statement. Like, Shigaraki single-handedly has put the Doctor back. The Doctor has lost a lot of his resources. He probably still has extra warehouses somewhere else, but Shigaraki's already destroying so much of his stuff. He's definitely set back Nomu development a couple of years. So let's just go all the way. Let's get rid of the Doctor. The only problem is, like, this complicates the whole Quirk Bullet plotline. But honestly, going into this arc, I thought this was all about like limiting how much power Shigaraki's actually going to have in the future. And that's pretty much what we're doing. He's 75%, not 25%. I feel like he's going to lose a good chunk of the Paranormal Liberation Front. And then he's going to be left with his elite. So let's also get rid of the Doctor. I want the Doctor gone. Because that just simplifies things in the future and there's less things to worry about. And as you can tell, I don't want to worry about too many things in Hero Academia's future. If the Doctor stays, well, that naturally puts people like Eri in danger. So that's why I'm a little bit concerned. Anyway, moving to the Outdoors group, Wash. I think it's likely that Wash can probably bubble themselves. Unless there's a wicked quirk disadvantage, it seems safer to assume that Wash should be safe. They could probably just ride on top of their bubbles. Again, hard to tell. We don't know the stipulations, but he's a pro hero. I know he's one of the guys that's there because of marketability, but he's a pro hero. He must have a busted quirk in some way. In regards to the Pussycats, one of them can die because honestly, the Pussycats don't really matter. They're no names. They're just there as they're the vestiges of a plot that we once had once upon a time. So, you know, take out one for the effect and you can call it a day. If you want to screw Coda, you kill Mandalay. If you're talking about likelihood, you kill Pixie Bob. And so for this, I'll pick Pixie Bob because everyone watched her turn back. She is dying without a husband. So that's tragic, and now I feel kind of bad now saying that. I hope she lives. But yeah, if Horikoshi wants to be brutal, kill both Mandalay and Pixie Bob, because then I'll be like, all right, cool. We have ruined Coda. This is good. He's going to learn a lot. In regards to the students, I think they probably all live. The students probably get away with minimal casualties. Anyone that's a speaking role student probably lives. I'd be very surprised if any of them die. If Toru dies, she's a traitor. Okay, but yeah, anyway. Ideally, honestly, everyone lives. I want everyone who has not been dusted on screen to live. Or alternatively, my second best option, I want all the pro heroes dusted. You know, it's one or the other. That's where I'm kind of feeling. Those are my two best solutions. If either of those two extreme scenarios happen, it would just make for some really interesting discussion that I would personally like really enjoy. Okay, so other general points. I do hope that once society gets past this, someone eventually develops the X-list clause that states, if a known city buster villain is dead, cut off the head just to make sure. No one's gonna hate you for desecrating a corpse. No one's gonna hate you for making sure a corpse stays a corpse. I really think this is what the guy should have done. But really, this all happens in the course of a few seconds. He only lost a few seconds. It's unfortunate. At least he gave up his cape for a noble cause. Anyway, we're pretty much going into weird times here with Hero Academia, and the last thing I'm going to say is, like, let's remember that Eri's horn is supercharged. If we end up with disabled heroes, you know what? I'm going to say that Eri might be able to do something about it. Take her to the hospital, let her, like, unleash that thing there, let Aizawa just turn her off once everyone gets back to their limbs. I think that would be fair. If Eri can undo a fusion, she can undo whatever is going on here with the heroes. That's what I would say. But we have to remember, Eri is charged right now, so she could be a Deus Ex Machina if they want to do it. Anyway, let's do the page-by-page walkthrough. This one's taking a little bit longer than I thought. So page 1, I found this page valuable because of my own mistake. I really just wish Burning said that it was a hospital instead of Foothills. Like, the heroes over there at the hospital at the mountains. I just wish he was more clear. Anyway, page 2, we got lots of stuff. We have Burning looking great. You see a few flying heroes here. One group seems to have fairy dust, and then you can kind of see like a fairy ahead of them. So that feels like a Tinkerbell group. They're flying away. That's definitely the hospital beds that they're carrying. Over here, we have the other guys carrying hospital beds. Over here, we have some beds on clouds and a guy with what looks like energy wings, so that's pretty neat. On the bottom panel, we have same old Bakugo. This is just like the same kind of demeanor he had during the provisional license exam, so this isn't that strange. One nice thing is that we have the Horikoshi happy face, so hopefully we'll all have a happy ending by the end of this. Let's see any other things going on here. There's some banter between Ochako and Bakugo, which is nice. I mean, it's good that they talk so much. Page 3, though, you got Ida working with one of the guys from his team. We know this guy from, like, what, 246? One of those chapters. He's part of the manual team. One special note here with Ida is that he got set up to fail with his dialogue on this entire page. It's one thing if they just had one instance, but they pretty much set him up for 2 instances. The first was the manuscript, him saying that they're going to preserve and protect the precious manuscript. Well, no, that's not going to work. And then he was saying that he was going to swing back around to make sure that no one's been left behind. So the good thing is Ida is a high maneuverability hero. The problem is that Ida might have been set up for a situation where he's running to a building and he saw like a little kid or an old person trying to get out, and then he saw them get dusted. Like Ida might come out of this kind of scarred. Like these kids are going to develop PTSD if they see hardcore death in front of them, without a doubt. Any other things on page 3? We see Koda being useful with his team. Manga is on his team from his internship. Let's see. We also see Koda using his powers to lead animals away. Now, one important thing to note is that the animals didn't give Koda a heads up on Shigaraki. And the reason I bring that up is just because it would have been cool. He could have been one of the first characters to have seen something coming. We have to remember that Mirko said like her senses as a rabbit were telling her that Shigaraki wasn't a normal thing. So that kind of said that, okay, maybe animals are really good at this. But as we see later in the chapter, animals only started running away from Shigaraki after Shigaraki started Decay. But yeah, it would have just been really cool if the animals had told Koda that something weird is happening, but I guess we didn't get that. The other thing on page 3 is that we have Nejire in the sky with an airplane hero. He looks kind of cool. Looks kind of like a little bit like a dolphin, but it's an airplane. Anyway, page 4 to 5, super interesting. So we get confirmed that it's the brother talking, not Nana. Good. This is what I was hoping for. That makes more sense. And so One for All knows the Quirk Blast is coming, which is interesting because he knows that Decay itself was activated. But anyway, there's some questionable dialogue here that I'm actually very excited about. Specifically when the brother says, freed from the shackles of humanity, his power now swells. A transcendent one is coming. So what is he trying to say in this one? First, what are the shackles of humanity? Is he talking about the morals of humanity, or is he talking about the body of humanity? So the line by itself says that in this unshackled free state, he can use all his power. So this has 2 interpretations. The first, now that the transcendent one has screwed morals, he doesn't really have to care about hurting anyone. This interpretation would be unique to Shigaraki. The other interpretation is that the shackles of humanity are the physical limitations of the body. This interpretation can apply to both Shigaraki and All for One. In Shigaraki's case, it's all about getting the body that beats singularity. If he has the body that beats singularity, then he can qualify as transcendent because quirk rules no longer apply to him. In All for One's case, if he has successfully implanted a vestige of himself into Shigaraki, he has essentially cheated death. All for One can now live on in spite of the death of his physical body. Now, as to which interpretation we're dealing with, it's most likely both the Shigaraki and All for One physical body interpretations. Reason being that Izuku is a dual existence housing his own existence and One for All's, and then Shigaraki is the parallel to that. So it just makes sense to me that this works for both of those characters. At the end of the day, what I'm thinking here is that the change in the physical bodies is what allows the power to accumulate. Now, the only thing that really throws me off in this situation is the idea that Shigaraki was actually able to become transcendent enough that One for All is able to identify him as such. Like, something is just off here. But One for All is kind of questionable too. Like, how does One for All understand singularity? Like, for One for All to even know about singularity, he must have heard it from one of the other vestiges, or he heard it from a weird link that he has with All for One. It's honestly just, it throws me off. Another interesting thing, though, is that One for All thinks Izuku can stop him. One for All thinks that Izuku can stop a transcendent being. So what does that say about Izuku's situation? Anyway, it's just a big statement for what seems like the all-knowing One for All. Other worthwhile detail in this panel is that Izuku was holding his stomach. Page 6 to 7, I think we got good tension here. The Shigaraki, we got him being nonchalant. I think that really helped. And we see that the scene takes place right after Endeavor punched Femnomu, given that he's still in the air and he's still in his pose. So we have a good timeline of what happened here. Going into page 8 to 9, we have the Doctor having a joygasm. President Mike loses his shades. We have number 13 getting warned. We also note that number 13 had a really prominent panel here telling us that the author wanted us to make sure that we were aware that number 13 was right here. So at page 10 and 11, we see that the birds have started moving from the hospital, them detecting that Decay has probably started underground. And again, given that the birds weren't active on page 5, it implies that the animals legit could not sense Shigaraki until it was already too late. It just sucks, because that would have been a really cool thing to give Koda. On page 11, we see the heroes running. Really important to note what number 13 is doing, because this builds into the idea that number 13 is dead. She's opened her suit and is trying to suck things away. Note that Aizawa is also a few steps behind in the situation, so number 13 might have been being a hero here. Also on this shot, we can see that Native and the girl from the Sports Fest, they were right in line from where Ryukyu was. So this is how Ryukyu was able to pick them up easily without problem. Okay, page 12 to 13, we have Crust's death. So I just want to come back to like what Dobby said. Remember Dobby, when he talks about heroes being terrible, you know, he's guilty of overgeneralizations. Anyway, within the group that he always loves generalizing, there are people who will turn towards danger if it means the opportunity to save another. There are people in this group that Dobby loves berating who, when they're already screwed, will go down with a thumbs up, their final act being a positive one. Dobby wishes he was as cool as Crust. No, but like the point is here, like just remember, when Dobby's overgeneralizing, don't get caught up in it. Just dial it back and remember that there is a wide range of people within the group called heroes. And moments like this, these are the people that Dobby says doesn't exist. So again, just screw Dobby's extremist personality. Just screw his extremist views. He's not well in the head. We know this. The man. Anyway, that's my installment of Dobby's trash for this week. I really hope he proves me wrong. Anyway, on page 13, we see the people who are running away from the tunnels, and Ryukyu has caught the group. It'll be really interesting to see if anyone uses the other passageway out of here. Because that'll be a good way to save that passageway that the author set up. But the passageway's already been used, so we don't really need to get it again. For page 14 and 15, we see Wash's quirk, and we see where Decay has reached. 2 more no-names get dusted. Page 15 is actually a really beautiful page. On this one, we see Pixie Bob turning around. Then we see Mandalay seeing her do it. And then we have the wonderful Earth Wall that tries to fling the Decay material into the air. Will it work? I don't know. Honestly, Decay, like I said, isn't well defined. It can be cheated, but the author hasn't made it clear enough. What I can say though is that Decay lines, we can see them in this panel. They're following the same pattern as the ones that were on the floor that Gigantomachia steps on in chapter 239. Does that mean that Decay is still spreading? Given that they're coming in from the tip of the wave, it does show that they're still propagating forward, which is unfortunate. I do think that the angle for that particular panel is kind of weird, but again, it does look like Decay is spreading from the tip to the bottom. Page 16 and 17. In the top panel, we can see what looks like a space behind Decay. I do wonder what happens if you step on this space after Decay has already passed it. And I'm showing you here on the screen. It's such a small little blip here. But it's honestly, again, I'm trying to look for any kind of way that we can justify some characters cheating. Regardless, for now, it might be safer to assume that Decay is active for as long as Shigaraki is touching the epicenter. That's just the safest way of going about that. At this page, we can also say that Endeavor and the others' fates are locked. If they're dead, they're pretty much dead at this panel in page 17. If they're alive, then they somehow survived among the wreckage. Maybe a bunch of them are just hanging out in the sky right now among the dust. Now, to talk about rhetoric, the Doctor has a bit of a spiel across 16 and 17. The Doctor is pretty much talking about how the society that heroes have built is going to crumble. And, you know, I just find it funny. The society that they built is ironically what allowed the Doctor to develop so much. But really, it fits with the Doctor's character. The Doctor has already sacrificed his ego in the name of All for One. So he's totally fine to go whatever direction All for One wants to go. If All for One wants to say screw it, like the Doctor will say screw it. He's one of the few people that can actually go anti-society and actually have it make sense for his character without looking like a hypocrite because he's gone nihilist. So yeah, if All for One wants a new world order in Japan, The doctor is pretty much locked and loaded. He's going to follow through it. He's one like the man's already like lived so long that he doesn't care anymore. If the world's gonna crumble, he's gonna like enjoy it. Too, the doctor's the kind of person that would be happy thinking, yes, the peace that you guys afforded me was your downfall, because that's just the kind of character he is. He's a lot better at this than some other characters when it comes to anti-society thoughts. Going to page 18 and 19. Oh wow, page 18 and 19 already. Oof. Okay, so here we have Izuku using his 45%. Okay, whatever. Honestly, I don't care about the 45% with Izuku. I will always respect full cowling as a training device because it is a pretty awesome training device. I will always respect the gimmick that full cowling represented, that being the idea of this guy getting to 100% over time. I totally respect that. But full cowling is just that. It's just full cowling. The moment that Izuku went 100%, it was over. I know what Izuku at 100% looks like. Even then, you know, the anime was just special effects everywhere. Regardless, I know what 100% looks like. Izuku climbing back up to 40 to the percentages, you know, it doesn't leave that much of an impact on me. The numbers are pretty arbitrary. Izuku's using Air Force. I know he can use that at 20%. It's cool that his body can handle 45%. That's really awesome. I would expect growth given that it's been 3 months. Yeah, so you seeing the 45%, you know, unfortunately it didn't leave that much of an effect on me. Sorry to say. But it's just Izuku has so many more other interesting things going on right now that full cowling is just a vestige in of itself of an old power system of old promises. I still think the day that Horikoshi revealed what 100% looked like, it just kind of ruined the logical step increases. I do think Horikoshi was able to save it with showing us Air Force at 20%, but pretty much 45% is just Air Force but stronger, and that's why it's a little bit underwhelming. Another underwhelming thing, I guess, for this one is just Izuku's using Air Force to stop Decay, but honestly, if Pixie Bob wasn't able to stop Decay with her Earth, there's no reason to expect Izuku to be able to stop Decay like this. We don't know how Decay even propagates underground either, so that's just why it's such a tough situation to be in. I really do think this panel just happened just for the author to show off Izuku. I don't think there's anything else that's really impressive here. I actually would have been very interested to see what happens if Bakugo just flat out uses an explosion and aims it right where Decay is, because Bakugo is going to end up destroying the material that Decay is about to touch. So, you know, when it comes down to it, which one would I have rather to have seen here? I would have rather seen Bakugo's explosion rather than Izuku's very limited kick. And again, gotta be careful saying limited. It's because like the scene is framed in such a way to make Izuku look cool that we really can't tell how much damage he actually did. I do hope that Izuku legitimately stopped Decay from progressing, but if he does, I do hope that Pixie Ball was also able to stop it. Another thing that we have on this page, we had Burning trying to call Endeavor. That reeks of cliffhanger to me. Because he wants to say, oh no, Endeavor isn't picking up. Oh no, is Endeavor dead? But no, like Endeavor is carrying 2 ladies. He doesn't have free hands. I'm not going to buy into it. Shonen Jump does this. Everyone knows I don't like Shonen Jump's cliffhanger styles because when it's bad, it gets really, really bad. I like this one gets a free pass though because I know it totally makes sense. Everything within that makes sense. But I can't help but be a little bit jaded and just see the guiding hand of the editor right behind this move to bring up doubt that Endeavor is in trouble. Again, if Endeavor is legit dead, like I said at the beginning of the video, that is worth its own discussion. That would be so interesting. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be good or bad. I'm gonna say it's interesting. That would be so novel. But yeah, anyway, this is exciting overall, you know, like as I look into the future, is Izuku going to fly over there? Is he going to get to Shigaraki and Air Force him? I would love to see that. I sure hope so. I do hope we get similar carnage though on Hawks' side because, you know, like if the author wants me to take Dobby seriously, which I'm not right now, but I'm also setting myself up for a potential just like wow moment. But yeah, if he wants me to take him seriously, you know, he needs to unleash similar carnage, right? Dobby clearly is going to do something earlier than he thought he was going to need to. So I definitely hope that they unleash similar carnage. That would be cool. That could even be Higanto just leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. I would love to see that. Pretty much just give me something that matches Shigaraki's damage. You know what? I'll be fair. Give me like half of Shigaraki's damage and I'll be very happy with the other side. But yeah, man, this is really exciting. What I want to see now is just how people are going to cheat Shigaraki on this one. I think I said this earlier, but one of the criticisms is that Shigaraki is too strong now. But like, honestly, Shigaraki still has weaknesses. We still don't know how the missing 25% is going to manifest in Shigaraki. And Izuku's pretty much overpowered now too. The reality is nothing has changed. It's still pretty much a fight of don't let Shigaraki touch you because otherwise he has instant kill. Shigaraki has always had instant kill. Although sometimes the author wants to slow down instant kill. Because there's moments like with Aizawa where he barely crumbles and there's other people who just fully crumble. Shigaraki's like, yeah, the author's always been kind of wonky with Shigaraki's speed. But regardless, I'm interested. But I'm not too scared about the whole Shigaraki situation because at the end of the day, All For One lost to All Might back when they were both at their pinnacle. So it's not like people like Shigaraki can't be stopped. There is that whole transcendental thing going on, but just because you're transcendent doesn't mean you can't be killed, unless Shigaraki picked up a quirk that allows him to regenerate from a single cell. And again, the fact that the fact that One For All thinks that Izuku can stop Shigaraki is a good sign. And you know, thinking about it, honestly, Shigaraki probably can't decay air because the molecules in air, they're too far apart. So that's probably something to be happy about. That's probably going to be the way going forward. It'd be interesting to see how Shigaraki would handle Endeavor. Like, I wonder if Shigaraki could decay fire. Because, like, fire, what? Is gas, pretty much? Like, really luminous gas? It's a reaction, right? Would he be able to stop fire? But, yeah, man. I'm excited. I want to see these matchups. I hope that the author doesn't switch back to Hawks next week. Because I want to see. Maybe Izuku goes over there with Bakugo. Maybe Bakugo unleashes a giant explosion at Shigaraki. That would be great. Then we get to see more of Shigaraki's quirks. It's going to be a fun time, man. Anyway, guys, long video. Let me know what you thought down below. And until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day. And yeah, till next time.